Listen up.
It's TLDL.
Hello, and welcome back
to the first and only nice looking motherfucking studio of TLDL.
I thought the first couple, we won't even go that.
Welcome to luxury. Welcome to the next
real
step
luxury.
up.
Can we brag about it for a second? Because
Yes.
you did this.
Fuck yeah.
Well, you did this, but you didn't do it from scratch.
I did not manufacture the brick.
Yes.
That is here. Although I did tile my bathroom. Pretty fucking similar.
And so we're in your living room at a different angle.
Yeah.
And you painted this shit. You decorated this.
I put that paintbrush in such thick, dark crevices to make sure that it was the most perfect, like, covering of black matte. I love it.
It's great. So this is our new background, hopefully, for now.
I think this is hopefully I don't lose my house. Who knows in this economy?
Well, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome to TLDL.
It feels weird not doing it for a week because we do it every week.
Yeah,
It felt weird.
I got food poisoning last week.
Yes. And we were like, because just in case it's
Well,
the
yeah,
Rona.
I know. I did tell him. I was like, bro, I think I have a flu. Like, because I just got food poisoning like 6 weeks ago. And it really was because my other friends got sick. So it was food poisoning and I got it again.
Yeah.
And I died and then I was fine.
Yeah. You said something about you were getting closer to God or something. I was like, oh my God, Chloe's being dramatic as fuck.
The light was approaching me. I could see it coming through the window.
But I'm glad you're better now. She doesn't have Rona. It gave me a little opportunity to work on some more music. Which was fun. And that was. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy we're back.
Yeah.
I don't like missing recording.
I don't either. I
No.
like seeing the engagement. One of our posts is getting like reviralized constantly. The one with the adoption one. I think that hits home for a lot of people.
I feel like at some point I'll tell the whole, like, my adoption story without we put a twist on it with like parenting.
Oh, yeah.
But at some point I feel like I'll share the story because people do seem to be affected.
Very much. And people were sharing their adoption story.
That's awesome to know that we would elicit that reaction.
For sure.
I'm encouraged to like talk more about it. Like, we did a super overview and I feel like there's a lot of people who, like, not in the eyes of parenting, but like I'm sure there's listeners who you went to foster care.
Yeah.
Like, so just to kind of like, we all have our shit.
Totally. There's a lot more adopted people than I thought there were.
There are, and there's a lot of people, and this is so sad, but there's a lot of people who were never adopted and like they just like leave at 18 without like always having been in foster care. And then when they refer to their parents, if they even like acknowledge them, it's like, yeah, but I was in foster care the whole time. Like, they were a druggie. Like, they never. Yeah. It's just crazy.
There's a lot of that here in town too.
Is there?
Yeah, because there's a lot of native, like indigenous people that like they lose their parents in some tragic way or something like that.
And so then they get put into the system.
They get put in the system. And the foster kids for the indigenous people, this is really serious. They get treated like nothing.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
No, it's a huge issue. And that's actually within the like adoption foster care community. Sorry, you guys. What the hell? We were in such a happy mood.
I know. Oh my God. Sorry.
But that is something that in that community, like just being aware of it since I was a foster kid, they do focus and people donate a lot of money to, those situations. Like, there are funds for indigenous people, but it's not enough. It's like never enough. And it's really bad. So it's something that we're focusing on, but like needs more attention.
But yeah. Anyways.
Hey guys.
Shout out. Hello. Welcome back.
It was my birthday last week.
Oh yes.
It was good.
It was really, I saw you had a great time that morning.
It was so low key and fabulous. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell them, Alex.
For some reason I had, it was because someone was saying that, and we're so open about the fact that you're working on not interrupting.
Yes.
Okay, we're not going to keep it, silent or whatever.
Have we not mentioned that on the podcast?
Maybe. I don't think so.
Do people think I'm not aware that I interrupt? Guys.
Girl, she knows. We know. We've talked about, even before we started the podcast, It was, we talked about it. And
I love to interrupt.
You do.
But I'm super duper working on it. And I usually do it because I feel like if I don't say the thought, I'll lose the thought and I'll never remember it. And it's so important. But it's not because I don't think what you're saying is important. It's
just
because I
what
don't
you're
want to forget.
thinking
And then
is
I want
more
you to go
important.
back to what you were saying, but that's like a very illogical way of thinking.
Yeah.
And it's rude.
Yeah. Which is, I knew the Chloe storm before we even got into it, so I don't even get mad about it. But I had a dream that I was saying something, and you were like over everything I was saying. You're like, and like immediately as I started talking, and you kept laughing as you were doing it, but in the dream you were doing it by accident, but you just kept doing it. And I was like, you need to let me finish talking. And you were just laughing hysterically. And then I woke up in the morning annoyed as fuck at her. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's her birthday. And I texted her happy birthday.
Listen, I've done it. I'm sure I've done that to someone.
That's all right.
Like
We
where you
love
just
it.
don't stop interrupting and like you try to stop and then you like go to talk again and like you tried to actually do it, but then they start talking at the same time because you guys are so out of sync in your conversation.
I do that.
Oh, my worst fear. And so even worse for someone like me who does interrupt because it's like double the chances.
Oh my God. Especially when there's a delay on the phone. And you're like, I just have that. I've never that.
Yes.
I hate that shit.
And then I'm like, should I say it? Should I let this go? Should I hang up?
Oh my
like,
God.
No, I know. That's so funny. And then also someone on a dating application that Alex has on his phone messaged him about our podcast and said, what nice comment about me?
He was like, can she just let the guy fucking finish talking?
Yeah. You know
And now
what?
on TikTok too, we got a comment.
We did. We got a comment on TikTok about me interrupting. I can let you finish.
Yes. And
I'm going to get there.
We'll get there. We're here now. Last
are
episode,
here.
you were so, because it was so hot, you were so like just letting me finish everything. I thought there was something wrong. I was like, am I saying something wrong? Is Chloe checking out? Is she falling asleep? What's going on?
No, it was fucking hot, man. Ew. But I am trying. That was a concerted effort.
We started this knowing it. We're continuing it. It's a learning journey for all of us. So we
Alex
love
has
it.
interesting thoughts, so we're gonna let him actually say them going
What
forward.
thoughts?
No,
Yes.
just mean
Yes. In general. I was like, I think we were talking about
never
specific
mind.
ones.
He doesn't have
I was
any
like,
thoughts.
oh, are we going?
No, I do love what you have to say, and it frustrates me as an audience member when I listen back to our podcast and I cut you off, and I'm like, what was he gonna say? Guys, I get it. There's no one who hates my interrupting more than me. I'm working on it. I just had a therapy appointment yesterday, and more to come.
More to come.
More to come.
We'll follow up on this
More
one.
to come. Welcome back, baby. I'm in therapy again. Year 21.
We went to the Hubble House.
Yes, which you did say that in a way that made it sound like, oh, we went to Disneyland. Like
It is kind of like Disneyland.
It is, but you have to define it.
Well, there's an artist here in town.
had no idea what that was.
Not in the area. There's some dude. He's an artist, and he is specializes in mosaic and metal work. So he does like all these intricate designs with like metaling and forging, and also like I said with mosaic tiles and
Like
then stained
large
glass.
scale.
Yeah, large scale. Making pizza ovens, designing them around these like pizza ovens, like in these commercial restaurants and like places all over San Diego. And we went, and it was cool as hell. I've already been before, but we got even more in depth, like walk through and tour, and it was cool as fuck.
It was super cool. I did not
And inspiring.
expect to find that like sort of property where we live. So it was super, super cool. There is a foundation, and neither of us could remember what it was. But the reason I wanted to talk about it more, because we haven't really talked about it as much as I'm interested in, because I need Alex to do manual labor now because I'm so inspired by the Hubble House. But I just loved this property because this couple, I guess, like 50 or 60 years ago, purchased this plot of land. And this guy was not an architect by trade. He had like these visions and like followed his instinct on building like different little buildings for his family to live in. And now it has multiple buildings, and every there's mosaic throughout the floor and up the walls, and the houses are like hobbit shaped, and it's absolutely incredible. And what I took from it is I also am an unqualified, unlicensed architect.
You definitely are.
And here I go.
You get visions.
I've been inspired.
Very clear visions.
He gave me the permission to do to my house what I think I've wanted to do. Like, you think I've been upgrading now. Like, I want to get in it. Like, I want to do weird shit, weird tile stuff. Like, I want to make this thing like a work of art.
Did you ever have imposter syndrome doing your tiles in your bathroom?
No, I just think I was going to go with like a more,
rustic kind of.
not rustic, but more, gosh, how do I say this? I was just going to go with a normal house. Like, I was going to do all the updates myself and the backsplashes and the shower. Like, I know I'm pretty good at this. Like, I'm pretty handy. So no, I didn't have imposter syndrome, but I was just going to stop. And now I saw this guy's work and just like the love for, he's like 95 now, still alive, still doing art. And he made this, land from bare hands without like big machinery.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Just dug fucking holes and tiled shit and taught himself and found inspiration from whoever. And his style is not my style.
Yeah, yeah.
But that work ethic and the design and the vision, like, now I want to take my own home to that next level where it's like, oh, what a fun thing that you just did because it's fun.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but it was
I love it.
so
No, you're
cool.
inspiring me talking about
it.
It's very cool. And he is, he's known around the county as well as internationally as well.
Yes, he's all through San Diego County. So
Yep.
I wish I could remember his name.
James Hubble.
James Hubble.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so James Hubble's the artist.
And he works on stained glass. And there's this there's this community back in the day called they're still around. It's called Findhorn, and they're like this spiritual group, and they meditate and do like organic gardening, and they grew these like huge cabbage heads, and they're like really known. If you really get into regenerative agriculture, they're kind of known in the community. Anyways, if you know of them and they're like kind of big, and they're designing their sign and they're sending it internationally to them in the Hubble location. They made it for them. Oh my God,
they made that for
Yes.
And is it a tribe, a group of people?
Not a
like
tribe. It's just, like a community.
It's just a community. Okay,
Yep,
I just wasn't sure.
spiritual community,
That is so cool.
It was very cool.
It's so cool how when you are an artist and a creative, like your work can go anywhere. Like
really, yeah.
A connection you make, like someone is inspired by you, and they just take that to their part of the world. And I don't know, it's just really cool how the arts just kind of spread. But that's what it was. It was a work of art. So the one message that I got from that I thought was so cool for anyone out there who just, I know I'm very fucking lucky to own a house. Like, I want to say that, like the fact that I could be inspired and go home and like do it is super cool. But for anyone who is like, you can do a lot with your space that doesn't involve construction. Mm-hmm. So someone mentioned, like, I'd love to live here at this, insanely gorgeous place. And the lady who worked there was like, wouldn't we all? And then she was like, well, that's what James Hubble always would say, is when someone would say they wanted to live there, he would say, go home and do it to your own place. Like, do this to your own home. And I was like, okay.
Yes.
You gave me permission.
You were like,
yes, I was.
Yes.
It was like a switch turned. And I'm ready, and I want to learn now. Like, I want to get saw lessons. I would like to get saw lessons. Please send saw lessons. Yes,
send sauce.
Actually, they're so expensive. Please send sauce. Mm-hmm. DM me for my address. Okay, well, that was I had a great birthday. I had a great week. It's been a good July. I'm
Other
having
than the
a good
food poisoning,
time.
It's whatever. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. I've been just making fucking music nonstop. I'm going to keep bringing it up because eventually I'll drop an album and I'll promo it here. But yes, I've been making nonstop. It's truly like, it's one of the things that like I knew when I was younger that it was something that I can just get fully immersed in for over 10 hours in a day and not have to get up, drink water, eat, sleep, anything. It's like one of the only things that
You don't even drink water or go to the
bathroom? I do, but it's like one of those things that I have to remember. I have to literally like be like, I gotta drink water.
I just was listening to you thinking like you went 10 hours without drinking water, going to the bathroom, eating, and just like sitting in front of a computer.
I didn't eat for 3 days. Last week, worked on music 3 days in a row. Mm-hmm. And the first day.
Did you have like garbage piling up by you? Like you couldn't like even make it to like throw
it's all
things
digital,
away.
so like I didn't use any trash. I didn't
I was
use
thinking
anything.
of you eating stuff and like wrappers. Just like
I wasn't
piling.
eating anything.
You just
I
never ate. You straight up just never ate.
The first day, I didn't eat until like 10 o'clock at night.
You look insane right now as you talk about this.
It's like the one thing that literally fills my cup.
But you should drink water.
For sure. And I drink water. I have the gallon right next to me like I do always. And I keep the gallon around because I need to like
I want to get
move.
you a shirt that says the gallon,
or just
gallon. Like with
or
just
make
a
like
picture
a special
of like a milk carton gallon.
or a TLDL gallon jar.
Oh my gosh, we could get like in a sort of material that's still like a nicer plastic but really reusable with TLDL and sell the gallon.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
This is how we're making millions. Okay. This is it.
Not a lot of people
I'm
buy
sorry.
1 gallon.
I did interrupt you though, so talk about your music.
Yes, but anyways, it's like the one thing that actually gives me true joy in this life. And a lot of things do, but this is like the one thing that I knew I was meant to do was to arrange vocals, drums, like do the whole shebang. There's songs that have like strings, piano, drums, 8 different vocal harmonies and like all these things. And I can do it forever. Now I just need a band. So if you play drums, yeah, I need a band. Yeah.
Not me.
We're looking for it. You want to start a band? TLDL band.
I can't play a single
You
instrument.
can be a singer. We can be singers. We'll do like Disney covers.
Obviously, I would be the lead singer of your
We
band.
can do Disney covers.
You know, I'll pass.
kidding.
I've got a lot going on. I don't think I can add it to my plate.
But anyways, music's a huge passion of mine.
I'm excited
and
for you.
Yeah.
He's been sending me songs.
And you're like, should we get into your music style?
No.
Okay.
I would like to say
Yeah. Is it not your style? Be
no.
real. Oh.
No, I just think it's funny because I want to give the audience like what kind of music is it? Like what's the tease? But I said to him, I was like, what genre is this? And you were like, I really don't know.
I need to find like a...
I was like, what the fuck do you mean you don't know like what do you
it's
mean?
Like, I guess you would call it like alternative rock pop or something. Cause it is like, there's like a melody.
Felt very like relaxing, and I feel like I would do yoga to it, which is what I told you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's super tranquil. Like you would walk around or like, so I personally listen to classical music or like lo-fi without word music when I'm like writing an email or something. I can't hear words.
Yes,
like it's
yes.
distracting. So I feel like yours, you could do like, I mean, I know it's not instrumental, but whatever it is too, like you can't really hear what you're saying sometimes. Like it's drawn out. So I don't have to listen to the lyrics. So it's very peaceful because I don't like hearing lyrics when I'm like meditating or writing or whatever that would be. So I think it's very peaceful. It's upbeat though. Like you could do like a morning flow of yoga to it. It wouldn't be, it's not like somber, but it is like very
like
peaceful.
Bath. Yes. Okay, cool. I'll take it. What I can get.
So I don't know. I feel like it's relaxing. It would fit into anyone's listening pleasures. Am I good at sales?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
I need to find an elevator pitch for my type of music because I'm like, I don't know.
I know he was like, man, I don't know.
I don't get
like,
it.
okay,
I don't even know. But yeah, anyway, so
I'm excited for you.
My update. Okay. Well, anyways, today we're going to talk about friendships and toxic friendships. And it's going to be about toxic friendships, but I think these are just like, also, if you have a friendship that has any of these symptoms, you can still work.
There is a treatment.
There is something you can work on. You know what I mean?
Well,
you can
maybe.
be like, I noticed little bit hints of this, but it's something that it can be managed, or you are managing, that kind of thing. Maybe.
Or you discover that with that friendship in particular, it's okay to end it. So we have, for the last, since we started this podcast, have covered a lot of broad, subjects every time. Anything that kind of impacts our life, in society, and covered it, kind of gone over things, got into the flow of it.
Yes.
But we're going to be a little more specific as we go in. So today is going to be toxic friendships, but really making the choice of to stay or leave a toxic friendship, friendship breakups, and the red signs and which ones are fixable and things you can reflect on or questions you can ask yourself to make these decisions because they exist.
And if you're like anyone in this world, well, most people, I don't know anyone that doesn't have any whisper of a toxic friendship in their life.
Right.
I'm sure everybody's had a friend where you're like, especially when you're a kid, you're like,
or a
I don't know why I
friendship.
feel,
You don't
yeah.
even need to blame the friend. Like maybe it is 100%, but a toxic friendship. Like
Yes.
take accountability. Like the
Yes.
whole relationship was toxic. Sometimes there are toxic friends, but everyone's at least I think had a toxic friendship where something just
okay,
wasn't
good point. Yeah.
good.
Yes,
they just
it
weren't a
takes two to
match.
tango. Yeah.
I think so.
For sure.
Like,
Always, yeah.
There's accountability that needs to be taken for something, whether it was a lack of boundaries or, whatever it was, it does take two.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I do think even if you are like 100% victim in the situation, you played a part. You always do.
Yeah, even being a part of a situation is a choice. It's an active choice. So if you are in a relationship of any kind, I mean, that's a choice. You
That's
didn't do
a choice,
nothing,
yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
you were there being a friend. You were a participant in your own life. And if you
Yes.
did nothing, then you're not being a participant in your own life. And that's like horrible
What's
too.
the point? Yeah.
So you're being walked all over. So no, I think this is going to be fun. And I don't know how to announce such a title for myself, but there's no one who's had more friendship breakups than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
weird flex, but all right.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah. So I have a specific friend type that I gravitate towards that is unhealthy. So
Yeah.
we're going to get into like different toxic traits or like, potential signs that you have a toxic friendship. And one of them, and I like wrote it down and we wrote these down, but one of them is the perpetual victim. That is an archetype that I love and think every time I can fix and have a great friendship with, and it fucking implodes. So I've been through this a lot. It's taken me a long time to learn and maybe set boundaries in the future, but that is the toxic friendship I have, is that I'm a fixer who loves a victim.
Oh, I get like that with romantic relationships.
Ooh, and watch out for next week.
Yeah,
because there's gonna be a part 2, but with
romance.
lovers.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
like that's the first thing I thought of when you mentioned that. Because I was like, "Ooh, I do that, but not with friends."
And it's funny because I don't do that with men. Like in my relationships, I don't like a victim.
Do they fix you, or do they want to fix you?
No, I don't think so. Because I think I come off as like in my own elevator pitch to when I'm dating, which I haven't dated for a long time, but I kind of was like, yeah, so I have all this stuff in my past, but like, I'm okay. I'm healed. I've been to like therapy, and then I kind of just don't talk about it again.
Yeah.
So I'm not bringing up like trauma. So I think most guys are kind of like, I don't know, but I don't think they feel like they need to fix me. I think they're kind of like, oh shit, it's kind of a lot,
Right.
but like you've kind of like done it yourself. Like I feel like
Your
it's a
friends do that
relief.
too, girl. Just kidding. It's kind of a lot. No, just kidding. Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know if I've ever had anyone try to like fix me. I feel like they've allowed my therapist to
Yes.
fix me, and then I'm not a fixer in romantic relationships either.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Interesting.
I don't think that help fixing dynamic is not present in my like lovers.
Yeah. For me, I realize with friendship breakups, I allow myself to I don't speak on things because I'm like, I don't believe in silencing a person or dulling who they are. I'm like, let them be who they are, and I'll learn to accept it. But then when they do things that cross a boundary that I don't speak on, or I don't make like very important, like this is my boundary, then I just build up resentment. I'm like, fuck this, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Totally.
you're done. Yeah.
And that's how
I think a lot of people do that
for
too.
a long time. Like I would have like crazy like friendship fallouts, and it was so, and we'll talk about it more as we like go through these actual like signs to look out for. But I handled them so poorly. But recently I've had some friendships kind of more fade away, and I'm much happier with that sense of a breakup. Like it is a breakup because we're not talking, but it wasn't something, it's like a breakup that you don't have to say, but we're not speaking anymore, and it faded, and it's okay.
Yes,
it used to be explosive for me. Now I don't know if I like the completely like fade away thing either, but
Yeah.
it does feel better than what it used to be. But what I have to identify is, why do I keep making friends with the same person? I have
we
a
do
friendship
that.
breakup, and
Yep.
then I will like find a similar person and become friends with them. So it's like I break up only to like re-friend the same fucking archetype. It's the same friend reincarnated. And so I don't know what this is, but some of my closest friends are aware of it right now.
Yep.
Like my business partner, Amy, she knows this is an issue and is going to help me identify if I may be jumping into a friendship too fast with someone who reminds her of any of these past people.
Oh, whoa.
So
yeah,
this is my like opening up?
Yeah, for me, it's hard for me. I guess I have, after a while of like that happening of me like building up, it's hard for me to 100% let people in. We talked about it on a podcast before of like, when we're talking about, I think, moving. And we're talking about how it's hard for me to 100% it takes a while. And the more I do let people in, the more it's a more healing thing for me to like, oh, okay, people are coming in. It's not as bad as I thought. I don't need to protect myself in this way, or just be open. Like, this could happen again. There's a lesson. For some reason, it's recurring. There's a lesson here for some reason.
That's amazing. So what I will do is stop fucking making friends with every chipmunk on the street I see. And I will give you my friendship accepting like openness that I've always had, and I'm going to gain your boundaries and guardedness because like I am way too friend. It's like I am like a literal, like, you know, the bop-a-mole. Yeah. Like I see a friend and I'm like, mine. Yeah. Like I just love friends, but then I'm like, but there's this specific type that I always get.
Girl or guy?
Both. Yeah. I think the victim personality type can be both pretty easily. I think. Yeah. And I also, by the way, people who like are a constant victim, that is like the number one sign of being a narcissist. Well, it's not the number one, but it's a huge one because there's different types of narcissists, and victim narcissists are a type, but like people always think it's them and their life is hard. Narcissist.
I definitely have seen echoes of that in my life of people where I'm like, but people like that, it so bothers me when people are victims that I'm like, I don't even befriend them, but I do see them at workplaces where you're forced to be with people where I'm like, why does this bitch think that everything, like, if I hear like, oh, I can never catch a break in this life, I'm like, bro, you either it's a perspective thing or you're just saying this performatively or something.
You know, I will say I'm not there. There is a level of it, like that type of person who's like always like complaining, like at work. Those are not the people that I kind of get sucked in by. It's more the people who like something always just happens to be wrong or sad or like another thing happened, and it's always used in a way to like kind of guilt you for not being aware of their life or whatever. You know, it's not the loud victim. It's more the silent victim. But the closer you get, the more you just start hearing their sad tales and, oh, life's hard, or they don't get the raise, or jobs are hard for them. It's like, why is everything that hard for you? But they really are energy vampires.
Yes.
They like
my gosh.
They like fuel up on complaining in my eardrums. And I
you
love
give it to them.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
You
like,
give it to them.
No. Like, or I'm like, oh, you can get out of this. So I'm either their cheerleader or I'm just like awing them on, but something about me just gives it to them.
But the plus side of that is for sure, like, when I first met you, you were extremely welcoming to you're like, oh my God, come in. Do you want a glass of water? You want a beer? You want a hard cider?
You have to empty home.
Yeah, you're like, come in, sit down, let's talk, blah, blah. I stayed here for like 4 or 5 hours the first time we hung out.
It was his 30th birthday.
Yeah, and like we just hung out. And then also like if I'm like, oh my God, dude, life's a little tough right now, and I start saying it, you're like, oh, but you got this, like blah, 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 blah. Like you do, the plus side to that is that you do help people that are close to you. You do breathe life into them when they need it. But when it's someone that is targeting you as like, ooh, I can use this all the time. Yes, it's a lot.
Yeah, and then I defend them.
Yes.
And I'm like, no.
You defend them.
Oh, we'll get into it. Okay, so why don't we, so let's start this. Okay, so we looked up and did a massive amount of research.
We went to choosingtherapy.com.
Choosingtherapy.com. 13 signs of a toxic friend. We're going to read all of these signs because I think that they kind of like cross, but we're not going to like dive into each of them because some of them are a little more relevant, I think, in most situations, and the other ones are kind of like the trickle effects or like smaller ones. But hey, if one of these is for you, like listen, because like there's a lot.
Yes, and it was quick, but these are very informative, and we pinpointed a lot. We talked a lot before this, and we're like, oh shit, these are good.
Okay, you want to read it?
Okay. One is they tease and insult you regularly. 2
is that they want all of your attention on demand.
Mm-hmm. 3 is they make themselves the perpetual victim. That's one we just spoke on.
Mm-hmm. They peer pressure you into doing things you don't want to do.
5 is they disrespect your boundaries.
6 is they are jealous of your other friends.
7, you give way more than you receive.
8 is you love when your plans with them get canceled. So that one's like a feeling.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. 9 is you often withhold telling them your real truth.
10, you lie or cover up for them.
Oh, that's...
Ew.
11 is you feel trapped or obligated to be their friend.
12, you feel like you're in competition with them.
Oh, that's a... 13, and the last one is you feel completely drained. That is a heavy one.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of all are. And they're all things that, unless you take the time to sit with yourself and identify, it's really easy to just like, especially friends, we just let them do their thing. Cause it's like, oh, they're not my partner. They're not my romantic partner. So like,
Yeah, give them a leeway or whatever.
totally.
Yeah, and then 3 months into a friendship, 4 months, 6 months, a year, you're like, oh, I feel like there's something off in my life. And friends like that,
Yes.
if they're not, I heard this guy talking. If friends are not giving you true value in this life, if you don't have, and it starts with you too, obviously setting your own boundaries and seeing what you need in a friend and all
And
that.
we'll talk about that,
Yeah.
I think, today for sure.
Yeah, but if they're not checking off all these marks, why? And it sounds a little selfish, but also like, why would you have them around if they're sucking a part of you away? If you can choose having someone amazing there instead, why would you choose to keep someone so close that's draining you? You know what I mean?
Right. It doesn't have to be like that they necessarily like cast a shadow in your life.
Yeah.
But if they're not giving more of it, and then these other signs, if they're not giving more to your life and then you start seeing these other signs, it's like, well, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough of a reason to like, kind of move on. Like people get really into being loyal, and you know what? That is a human-made construct in society that like you remain loyal to people. And I don't think as many people in our lives deserve
Loyalty.
that amount of loyalty.
Yes.
That undying, unwavering loyalty. I just don't. And I don't think
agree.
they deserve it.
Yeah, some people really. If you can really identify that, and there, look, I've had moments where I was like chopping heads off of people in my life where I was too quick about it.
Me too. Absolutely.
But there is, if you can really sit and take time and be like, shit, dude, this is not the relationship for me. It's really okay to either take a step back from it or cut it off completely or something. You know what I mean?
Change it or
Change
work
it.
and fight like you
Yeah.
would with a partner.
Totally.
I think, for me, I've been the reason the friendship was toxic. I've had other
Same.
friendships where they were the reason it was toxic. And I've had other friendships where we just weren't the right match. Like we were a little too similar or a little too different. So it's not like we're saying this and, I have had a lot of friendship breakups. I would say they're about 50-50 in who the person was in the wrong. And I will say that the majority of friendships breakups I had under 25, I was in the wrong. And as I've gotten older, I actually feel like they've been me just setting a boundary and like ending a friendship in an okay way. Like I'm not gonna be your friend anymore. Is kind of what I do actually.
For sure, yeah.
And then that's okay. So
And yes, and also not feeling like maybe everyone that's nice to you is necessary of friendship.
I think that
is necessary of a friendship. Like sometimes they're just cool and you can keep them keep cool.
I'll call them my friend. We hang out twice. They're my best friend. I've been really good. I've never called you my best friend.
Oh,
I know.
You're like, this is good. You're not close.
So
I know.
didn't make the cut.
I know.
No, but I have in the past gotten into relationships with girls and guys, other gay men, and then girls. I only have one straight male friend. That's not like Ben. But I've had situations in the past where I get close with people and I'm like, oh, they are like one of my best friends. Like they became my best friend so quickly. And it's like, girls, number one, I've noticed, and like, sorry to be sexist, but I do feel like girls tend to label like friendships a lot more. They're like, that's my best friend and that's my really good friend. And, here's, whatever, like you do that. And guys are kind of just like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my friend.
Or
like,
buddies or whatever.
Or buddies. Like it's all the same.
Yes.
And so I just fall in that category of people who will call someone their best friend really quickly, who will be like, say I love you to their friends really quickly, will make consistent plans with them really quickly until I realize that I'm like, oh my God, we have become like absolutely inseparable and like almost codependent.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been really good about not doing that with you because I've lost friendships because of it. Because I went too fast. I don't want to lose our friendship. So I'm trying to like be like respectful to just time. It takes time to build relationships.
And friends and trust and all of it, for sure. And I mean, it's not like we're like, there's a huge distance in between us, but we just like.
Very close, but we're not like, I don't want to, I just want to let things be what they are. I want to stop labeling as much things in general. Like, why do I have to distinguish who is all my best friend? Like, all my relationships at this point in my life are so different.
Yeah, for sure. Same. I mean, it's funny with me, I have friends that are like family members that are very close to me that we've been talking since I was a baby. And I keep them really close. And then I have a couple of friends that we keep in contact at a distance. I've known since like 7th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
And then with friends like this, I keep like 2 or 3 the most inner circle people in my life.
Now,
I
not before.
I couldn't. I had friends that were that like I had a group of friends that were like of 8 where we would come together all the time and when I was younger.
Group.
The friend
For
group.
sure,
and I loved every single one of them.
Yes.
But as an adult, I could still have a group like that of like buddies where I can go out.
Party friends, social friends.
Social friends.
I need to be more okay with the fact that social friends are valid and add value to my life without like talking about, the most important stuff. Like we can honestly just enjoy each other's company and they can be a good friend of mine and that's okay. They don't need to be like this deep sister. I don't need a sister. Yeah. And I don't know why I get so weird. Yeah. But I have like my whole life, I've always just really connected quickly with people. And then it fucking
and it goes
up in my face.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I've done the same thing more when I was younger, but my group of friends, and as an adult, there's not that much energy you can give to all of these people all the time. No, and that's why it's gonna die. It's gonna fizzle and die. And you'll find subconsciously, for me, I would like find reasons to not like them or to get them out of my life, or I could have literally just been like, there's extra people right now. I can't disperse all of my energy to all of these fucking people. And
no, I think there's a healthy way to have friendships, and I think I'm getting closer to it. Yes. Okay, I want to read through the ones that we resonated with between the two of us. So we each have kind of like a little bit of an anecdote that we want to reflect on and like maybe pinpoint like where these things could have gone wrong or the personality traits we could avoid for ourselves, not because they're bad people, but because they're not our matches. Yes. So Alex has thoughts on friends who have teased and insulted him.
Yeah. This is interesting because for me, I have been very self-deprecating with the jokes. And then with...
Yes.
Yes.
More when I first met you. I've noticed it less lately.
Yeah. I can't... after I turned 30, y'all, something changed. Good. I don't know what it is.
I think that's great.
I was like, yes, for sure. I just like can't... There's no time for a lot of shit. And then I get friendly with people really quick. So I make self-deprecating jokes. I'm like, oh my God, my love handles or whatever. And then someone I just meet, they're like, you're so fat. And I'm like...
What?
Bitch,
they don't tell you like no. Do you get that response a lot too, where people are like, no, you're not?
No, you're not. I'm like, girl, I literally have a love handle. Okay, like it's cool.
Okay.
But what I mean is like they feel so comfortable, and this was on me, where I make them feel comfortable with talking to me. I become self-deprecating. They feel like they're like, oh my God, yeah, you're a fat mess or whatever. That's
like
just like
over time, like these social friendships.
Quickly.
Really?
They're like immediately where you're like out like a shift with someone where I make them feel, and they're like, shut up, you're stupid. I'm like, oh wait, when did we even get that close?
That's dynamic.
Like so quickly. And the self-deprecating thing is like that old saying, you teach people how to treat you. You teach the world how you want to be treated. And I treat myself a certain way, and everybody feels, for some reason, not for some reason, very obvious reason, feel the need to be like that. So there's definitely been that. And then there has been a person where I was like, chill. Like every time I saw them, they're like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. You like those pants, or like I'll like lift up my pants, like, your pants are getting tighter, huh? Like, like the fat jokes or like whatever. Like I got a cold sore one time, and it was just like a nonstop gay joke, which I was like,
What?
Girl, chill.
Yeah,
chill.
that's
like,
crazy.
People get cold sores. It's not like it doesn't.
Some people are born with them.
And
like,
literally, like my whole family, like we all get cold sores. So it's just
Yeah.
like weird shit like that where I'm like, stop.
That's
like,
just so.
And it's
just
nonstop.
mean.
All the time. Yes.
So in situation, so I've never had this situation.
Yeah.
I've never had a friend that has teased or insulted me. Now I've had people who are my friends tease me, but
you're like,
I haven't had that like in a friendship, where they like really take you down a peg. That's not something I've experienced. I think I do have a little too much pride.
Yeah.
I don't think that would fly. Like that
for sure
wouldn't happen to me because like a second you were rude, you're like, I would forget we were ever friends. So like, that's not a thing I've experienced.
Yeah.
Is that to you? Clearly to me, that's a deal breaker. That's a toxic trait that I'm not gonna like tolerate in my life. Do you think that is something that like can be recovered from through a conversation? Or is that something that you're just like, okay, I'm gonna stop letting them talk to me like that?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think it can be, especially when I evaluate the friendship, if there's a bunch of things that checks off with this like list of things. You're like, is this the only thing? Is this something like, okay, chill, I'm having a bad body image day. Like, let's not go there or whatever. And I use the fat joke thing just as like one example of many things,
Well, some of these things on this list and some of the things people say hold more weight.
Totally.
So,
no pun intended.
just like you. I'm sorry.
That's why. So the issue with the self-deprecating jokes is it's so funny to me sometimes.
I know.
Where it's like, I'm like, for some reason it's too funny.
You opened your eyes and just let me in. And you asked for it.
So yeah. So if they check
to
up
be
a
clear,
bunch of boxes.
I don't make fat jokes
She's
on
literally
Alex.
never.
This is not who he's talking about. It's me. He's talking about me.
Bitch, we gotta talk.
So we're gonna keep recording.
Actually called me out on not making self-deprecating jokes.
I hate pitiful jokes.
Yes.
Because I used to do it so much. And then I just one day, like, I don't know when it switched for me. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while, but I don't do it. Like, I'll just like, oh, I'm stupid or whatever about a subject I'm actually stupid in. But I'm not saying anything negative about myself that isn't true. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I have a flaw that I don't have.
First, I mean, it was, like I said, 30 did wonders.
And you allow other people to treat you. Yeah, you start making fun of you. If I were to say, oh, I'm an annoying person, someone who's not a very nice person would probably be like, oh, I found it really annoying when you did this. And they start to pick at you. So don't let people know, like, your biggest insecurities. Because that's what comes out in that humor.
Totally. Yeah.
I just turned this around on you. I'm like, you need to change.
You need to change.
Them.
It's true, though. I mean, in a lot of these I'm noticing it starts with us. Like, it's not, it can be someone that enters your life and starts doing these things, but a lot of it is like our lack of knowing what we want as boundaries and setting them. What we want in friends. Like, for me, I kept friends
choosing your friend.
Choosing, yes, it's very interesting. But yeah, and then I have friends that I make because of proximity. Okay. Because they're close. I mean, you've called me out a couple times.
Social friends, proximity friends.
Friends that, because they're close geographically,
roommates.
Yes.
Like, if you're a roommate and you're friends with them because they're your roommate, but they suck. But
you wouldn't be friends with them outside of it. It's like, that's a huge thing.
And how do you just, like...
By convenience.
Honestly, like, I feel like for the roommate thing, like, how do you become just roommates and not friends? Like, if you don't like the person, you're only hanging out with them because of proximity. Like, you are wasting your time. Like, if you're going out with that girl every night because like you guys live together but you don't really like her, it's like you're allowed to just like live with people. Like, I feel like people get so weird, like they have to be best friends with their roommates or their neighbors are bringing over baskets of cookies, and if you don't like these people, you don't just have to hang out with them because they're in proximity to you, in close proximity.
Yes, or they like,
or you work with them. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Or if like if you don't vibe with them 100%, they're nice people, they're great. You see, they do amazing stuff. They have great jobs. They do this. They have all the. And you don't vibe with them, like, you don't have to. No, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy. You're not gaining anything from it. Like, I really do feel like something going into this new year, 28, thank you. I just want to be really, really conscious with the new friends I make in San Diego. Like, I've moved here 7 months ago. It's very important to me that I don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Yes. Whoever was more wrong when it ended, I don't care. What I don't want to do is that ever again. I just don't want to have another fucking friendship break. I don't want to do this. Yes, you know? Totally. I'm taking responsibility and like
I'm not being guarded. I'm making friends. I'm going out with different people,
Yes.
going over to people's houses I've never met, like having fun, but I need to protect the labels.
Yes. And also, you know what you're looking for and what you're setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so the one I was going to talk about, but we kind of, whatever, in the intro of this is the perpetual victim. To me, that toxic friend trait, I guess, is one for me that is a complete deal breaker. Like the friendship does need to be over. And that is because I allow it. Mm-hmm. And so it needs to end because at the point I can't regain respect. Like I think I allow people to, I don't know. I feel like I am pretty generous, sometimes almost inappropriately so. And so I'll do things and give things to my friends. And I think some of these people have benefited from that. And even if they didn't, it's not like I think they're conniving people. They are victims and they like people who care for them and give them extra attention and treat them like they're special and like give them passes for their behavior. Like they like people like me.
Yes.
It's not like they meant to hurt either of us, but like we latch onto each other. And then it explodes in the end.
Do you remember anyone that was like that when you were younger? Like,
oh, that's an interesting question.
Did you have like a foster sibling or like?
No, I never had a relationship with any of my foster siblings that was like intense. I'm trying to think
like trauma bonding with someone or something.
I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know. I feel like.
Because I
feel like I want to take care of people because I wasn't taken care of. Like
Whoa.
friends, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the same thing with romantic relationships.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm working on. We talked a lot about it. So I don't really feel like you heard our thoughts on the victim stuff. If you know that you're a person who is a victim a lot, just work on that. I really think that's something you should work on in therapy. If you think that everything that happens to you is like, it doesn't happen to anyone else. It's always me. If you're someone who, when you suffer from something, you have to talk about it all the time. Like if you have body issues, you're gonna that's all you discuss. Like that's why you were a bitch that day because you were feeling bad, and it's always a victim thing. Like I think those are signs you need to go to therapy. I am personally, as the person who is the caretaker and the fixer, and going to therapy to figure out why the fuck I need to take care of a grown ass adult.
Yeah.
And stop doing that.
Yes.
So that's my conclusion on victimhood. But
for sure. I just remembered a type of friend that I almost always let in immediately is no matter how their personality is within reason.
Right. These people have different personalities.
Yes.
It's that essence.
It's my not victim, but when someone's an artist, like a really gifted artist.
Oh my God.
I'm like,
those are the men I go for. That's it.
Same.
That's my toxic man.
Oh, artists.
If you
Oh, for me, it's and friends too, but definitely guys I've dated. I'm like, or they're an amazing singer.
Oh my God.
I was like,
yes,
whoa, a gifted singer where
gifted,
you're like, they have to have the it factor that this world hasn't seen. And I'm like, but you have it. You have, and
you know what? Looking back, they're usually losers. But yeah, I'm super into that as well. That is like every guy I've dated. It hasn't always been like an artist, but someone who just like that personality trait, like who's like, cause I feel like comedy is an art. So like guys who are super hilarious, like truly like that kind of counts. I really love a funny guy. But Ben like draws, my husband draws and like does art and like wood burning. And he hasn't for so many years. But when we first met, he did it a lot. And I was like, that is so hot.
Your ovaries were like,
well, I didn't want babies at the time.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then I met him and his ovaries were shaking. No, that's funny. Okay.
Another thing is not disclosing, but like if something bothered me about something that happened, a moment in time that happened, or like an opinion you have that I can't get past, I don't talk about it because I want to process it in my own time. But since I fucking work all the time and don't ever stop and process anything, it's just like not an option for some reason. I just don't end up doing it. But it ends up building up major resentment. And then I like not
telling someone something they did because
Yes.
you haven't had time to figure out how you want to tell them,
Yeah,
and then you just
how-
don't tell them.
Tell them, or at least accept it in my own way. I'm like, that's who they are. And it comes from a place of like, I don't ever want to be like, you're a bad person for thinking or saying this. I want you to be who you are, but I do want to express it in a way that it affected me in a way.
Right.
But I don't want to dull you as a person. I always do believe in like, don't dull yourself. Hand the person sunglasses. Don't dull your shine. Like give the person some sunglasses and let them deal with it. But I do that, and then the fucking relationship will like, I'll just like straight up either ghost, explode,
Yep.
Some combination of both.
Same.
Ghost and then explode and then ghost, or
Oh, yes.
ghost and then explode.
I was an exploding ghoster. Now I'm
Was
more
an exploding ghost.
Now I'm more a ghoster. However, I will say the last friendship that I ended pretty recently, I did write a very well thought out response. They reached out to me after a few weeks of uneasiness, and I was able to say that like, hey, based on kind of our friendship in its entirety and some things I think I've let go in the past, like I do need to end this, and I can no longer be friends with you, or someone like you is what I needed to remind myself. Don't find another one. And it wasn't easy, and I think they're a good person. I do think maybe there is some narcissism there, and we all have our things, so it's not like okay, but narcissism is a really, really hard one to to overcome, being a narcissist, because they don't usually want to be. So victim narcissist for sure. So
that's what drew you to this person, was their victimness.
I mean, yeah, because like it was like a bunch of body stuff like that. That would always be the excuse that they were in a bad mood or treating us like shit or screaming at friends of ours. And it was like, oh, I'm just so insecure about like my body, like in the gay community. And I'm like, okay, but why are you like screaming at your best friend?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So so I finally I feel like this last one was like, I handled it well, but I do feel like right now looking at my friends truly inside and out, I think they're good. Like I don't have that weird feeling that you are avoiding for so long and then it makes you blow up. No one right now makes me feel that way.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Same here. Same here. Thankfully, like I said, I work a lot, so I don't keep that many people that close. So the few people that are close, I'm like, I feel very good about the people that are around. Yeah. Especially, and people that I look up to that I keep at a distance only because I can't be super close with them,
right?
Just because of time and all that. But yeah, I'm thankfully, again, 30, 28, we don't have fucking time.
No.
It's like, you learn all your lessons, or you're learning all of it, but there's a point where you gotta just be like, no, we gotta know what we want moving forward.
100%. And I know I went and kind of talked about like the ending it when you were saying you ghost or explode or ghost. But I really do feel like in all of my friendships that have failed, ultimately what we're talking about with this one, which is like withholding your truth and withholding how you feel and not letting them into parts of your life, or not telling them feedback about themselves. That is what I would do with all of those friends. Every friend that has failed, I never called out when I was uncomfortable. I never even told them I was uncomfortable, let alone called out. Like, we can't even get to that step. They didn't even know I was upset. I'd be like, it's okay. It's okay.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, but it's okay. Is like was my fucking sound. I had someone move in with me in my room, sleep in my bed, and I didn't charge her rent. And I was like, but she needs help. Why does she need more help than anyone else? Go to therapy. So, I have really tried to set that boundary, because if I'm not telling people feedback, it's because I'm afraid I'm gonna lose the friendship, and I don't want to lose it, and I don't want to be the reason. And then it's like every other friend that I have that's healthy, though, I can
say things, yes,
that I'm not happy.
And that shit takes up mental space. You think about it on your time you're not with them, before bed, or while you're taking a shower. It takes up mental room. Like, you don't need it in your life.
I know. I think that's that's a tangible standard that I can have. I'm like, okay, if I'm not giving them feedback on how they're making me feel, and I don't, or just feedback on anything. If I'm just everything they do is totally fine, even if it's not, then we're not friends. Because if we were friends, I'd be able to talk to them, and then that's that. Like I used
Done,
to,
yes.
but instead in the past I was like, oh, we're best friends.
We're besties.
Yeah.
Point blank. Who cares if she's shitting on my bed? Has you ever shit your bed?
No,
Oh,
Alex,
sorry.
no one's ever shit in anyone's bed. I know. Okay, I want to talk about some of the other ones that were on this list that I don't have as much of a connection to because, like, I know my toxic friendship type. But I think they're important because I think these come up a lot with people. And on these ones, I feel like I have advice for them.
Okay, same.
Unlike mine, where I have a blind spot for. Like, that's the friendship type I have a blind spot for. But these other ones, I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Yes,
Do
yeah.
this. Like, as if
Yes.
it's so easy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which, it's simple, but not easy.
No, I know. Okay, so someone who wants your attention, like, all the time, and you are, like, the only person they can talk to. So like you always need to be available for them, and if you can't make it, like you're guilty, like that kind of friend. Have you
Yes.
had that at all? Okay. Yes. I actually haven't. So
yes. And it's hard. It's one of those things where I never was like, I can't be that person.
Can
I just
you give
kind
me
of
an
like
example of what like
yes.
that looked like for you?
It's just like, it would be like, well, two examples. I had a childhood friend where he lived directly, again, friend by proximity. He lived directly behind me, so our backyards touched.
Yes,
so
fence
we would just
friends.
be like, yes. I was like, oh, we would see each other like, hey, and he would always be like, go to the fence, and we would go like, okay, shit. And I'd go up, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm having a bad day, blah 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 blah. So he would just like fucking trauma dump or vent about his day or whatever,
weird.
just like shit like that. But he was also really funny. He had all these good characteristics, but very needy. On the spot, needs you now, you need to be there. And
what did you feel like the consequence would be if you didn't, or did you just think that not being there wasn't an option?
I didn't even consider another option. I was like, oh, he's my friend. You just got to show up.
That's my
And I was
advice to
young.
people.
Yeah.
There's another option.
There's
like you
another
can just
option.
not be that person for someone.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
I want to say, obviously, like if it's, if someone's threatening like suicide because someone, and this is maybe is more in romantic relationships, and we'll talk, whatever. But I'm not saying like just like fuck you, I'm never gonna talk to you, whatever. Like get them help or whatever. But it is also not on you. So like you need to pass. Even in the most severe cases, pass them on to someone else who is more qualified, has the time, and wants to be there for them. So like, even in the worst cases of someone who always needs your attention and you're the only person in the world who can be there for you, if you don't feel like they're giving you the same thing, if they are not that person to you, then they are not an equal best friend, and you do not need to be giving them this time, even in the most severe circumstances.
For sure, yeah.
There's someone better.
Totally. And like for me, I was like younger, so it's like
That's
I didn't
a
really
big part of
get.
it.
Yeah, I didn't even get like, oh, friendships are complicated and you can draw boundaries. I didn't know any of that. I was like literally elementary, middle school, and then later on, just someone that I would like FaceTime all the time and like talk to, and if I wasn't there, they would get really just very weird, off-putting. All of a sudden, put this huge like put the wall up and just act weird about it.
Oh my god! So you'd have to like make up for not having a FaceTime call.
Yeah, or but they wouldn't say anything. So you're just like, is this because of that, or is because like I don't know what I did wrong. So, but I'm assuming it was because of that.
They're causing you to have like an anxious attachment style.
Yes, I'm like. So
it's so manipulative.
It's hard to navigate a relationship like that, especially when it's like someone that needs to be close because they were like there for a while, or their family or whatever.
There's always a reason. Their family. You've been friends forever. Their family. They're like family. Whatever. There's new friends. I don't know. I'm pretty
for sure.
Look,
No,
it's
you're
a lot
right.
easier to give advice though.
Oh,
this
way
stuff
easier
when it's
for
not
sure.
your blind spot.
For sure.
Obviously, like I've admitted to it. So as I'm harshly giving this like breakup advice, it's. Obviously I have my own shit, and it's not that easy.
And it's like with so many things in life, things are simple, but not easy.
Yes, that's
it's a simple solution, but it's like
how do you do it?
How do you get to that point?
No, totally. Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, peer pressure within a friendship, like friends that don't respect your boundaries. We'll put those two together.
Yeah.
Peer pressure you and don't respect your boundaries.
I mean, for me, like as an adult now, I'm like, I I don't like drinking often. And then there's a lot of situations where like there'll be people drinking. I'm like, not tonight. And if people are like, come on. First of all,
So disrespectful.
The first sign of like an actual alcohol problem is you always wanting to have people drunk with you. So that is a symptom of alcoholism, even in a small extent. If you need them to, if they're like, you're like, no, come on, it's your day off. Oh, come on, you have this evening off. Like that always. That's a sign of a drinking problem.
Okay.
They need other people to be with them. Okay. So that's, first of all, I identify that. And,
it makes sense.
And also as adults, like, bro, you're peer pressuring me. Like, no peer is going to pressure me into doing it, especially if it's something that I'm like hardly know.
This one feels like light to me.
Yeah.
This one does feel light because my thoughts on this, and I don't know about you, but one way for peer pressuring, I don't have a lot of friends who like actually peer pressure me, but when I have noticed that my friends are not respecting my boundaries of wanting to go to bed early and be peaceful and not hungover is typically when they are feeling needy or like a little unloved or maybe whatever. So what I like to do is reassure them, like, I want to spend time with you, but I don't want to drink or whatever, that would be. And another thing I think is that people need to have more friends and different friends to do different things with. So if, someone was pressuring me to drink, 'cause that's another thing, I don't do it that much. And I would just say, like, let's go out. And then I would find them a new friend so that they can take that. And I love to introduce friends. My favorite thing in the world is to introduce two of my good, close friends, people who I know are good people and will get along, and then they become friends. And there is nothing better than my two friends doing something without me.
Or bonding over
succeeded.
Funny things about you.
Yeah, bond over me, talk shit about me. I just love not having to do things. So I will introduce friends and I will make them new friends so that I can go home and go to bed because I'm tired. So that one is not a deal breaker to me. That's like, you can fix this.
Yes, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like in a group of people like, y'all are not going to peer pressure me into doing things. Like, I've never had issues finding a group of friends or feeling accepted in a group of friends. And I never felt like I needed a drink or do anything. I really did feel like who I am is enough. And if you're doing that, I'm like, bro, chill. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm good. And also you're good. You're staying. You're not saying you're going home. So there's like no reason to peer pressure. Yeah. I'm sure there's peer pressure in a lot of other ways within friendships that I'm not thinking of, but because I'm thinking of in like the lighter way of, I'm good. I'll set my boundary. I'll replace a friend, I'll replace myself with someone new and you go play with them. And this is my boundary and I'm not going and I love you. But there's a side of it. If your friend is like a fucking dickhead and a bully and like takes, a Ciroc bottle and shoves it down your throat when you said you weren't going to drink, they have a problem. For sure. So there is a line of peer pressuring where, they are the problem and you should get out. But if it's the little social stuff, it's just like, distract them. Yes. And
I a memory of like this girl, an old roommate, was dude I was dating's roommate, and she was telling me a story of how like she just like ended up at this party just doing some fuck. She slept with some girl's husband because she was so drunk, and she was just like, but she said in the beginning of the story, she was just like, and I just like was taking shots because I wanted them to like me. And she was 22, and I was like,
sleeps with someone's husband.
And well, she got so drunk that she ended up doing that. I know.
Just like, can you imagine going into the night?
Yes.
Thinking that you're like trying to be liked, and then you fuck the girl's husband.
Yes. And like she said she didn't know, and all this stuff. And it's just I've never been in a situation where I was like, I want you to like me. What can I do? What action can I do that I don't feel comfortable with will make you like me? I've never been in that situation, so it's hard. It's always like a hard no for me. Like, bro, chill. I'm not doing that.
I mean, I'm pretty easily persuaded, but only when I'm open.
Want to, yeah.
So I feel like what I do. And I'm pretty sure all my friends know if they know me at all, but like I feel like I put up a harder front of not wanting to do something so that I can like budge a little bit and I will give in, and then they're like, just and they're just happy that I did, and I think they give me that so that I feel cool and fun and wanted, but like you know, they know that I want them to nudge a little bit, but those friends know me. If I said no to like, I don't know, someone I met professionally or whatever, and I was like, no, I don't want to drink, and they pressured me and they weren't a good that's so weird to me. Like anyone who pushes, I'm with
predatory,
you. Yeah. Okay. Giving more than you receive. Not not having a friend who reciprocates.
In emotionally, physical
I guess
stuff?
in
Yeah.
any way.
In any
Physical
way.
stuff. What physical stuff do your friends do to you
Well, I mean,
that
I
you
guess
don't
material
reciprocate?
things. Material things, I mean. Physical.
You rub my
tangible.
back, I'll rub yours.
I guess. I think I'm more of a, because my thing is like, my love language is not active service, it's not gift giving. So
What is
I
it?
found myself, mine is, well, for romantic relationships, physical touch and words of
Okay.
affirmation.
Do you know for friendship, like what you lean towards?
I'm a huge hugger. Sharing time.
Do we ever hug?
We've hugged a couple of times.
I like to hug.
Yeah.
But I don't usually initiate the hug.
Yeah. We've
But I
hugged a
like
couple
to
of
hug.
times.
I
Yeah.
initiate hugs with people like who I don't think want to hug me.
And you're like, bring it in, bitch.
Yeah.
But
like my family.
But so I've definitely been on the other side of being the one that takes more than gives, but not intentionally. Like I wasn't
could
like,
see that.
give me. I'm there. It's just someone that's a gift giver that just kept giving me stuff, and I'm like, thanks.
I
Cool.
could
Thanks.
see that.
And I can think
That-
of a friend right now that I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I do have a lot of your Tupperware containers and a vacuum and a cat. Okay, well, so I'm like, there's a lot, and I just don't realize. But so that could be as well.
your toxic trait.
That could be.
you don't give as much as you take.
Yeah, or like, but there was never a talk about it. Like, hey, I'm a gift giver. This is me, bro. Like, I'm gonna give you a bunch of stuff. I like gifts too. If we're gonna be friends, you better give stuff back.
A lot of people don't have the conversations with their friends or even partners about what like their love language is, or and it doesn't have to like sound that corny, I guess, if you're uncomfortable with it. Like my husband and I read that book when we were dating, so I feel like it's a pretty basic one. It's not like you're not weird to ask someone for their love language. Like that's a pretty common fucking thing.
For sure, yeah.
So I think that's super important to communicate it. But the funny, we don't. And so people could expect and be hurt by it and be like, why would I give Alex gifts? Let's say, material things. And then if you were to never get them a gift and they might be sad, but you're like, well,
or
I just
acknowledge
thought
it.
you just liked giving gifts. So for me, I love giving gifts. And I am okay if people don't give them to me. I do love a surprise gift, especially from someone who usually doesn't. Like that means more to me than like a birthday, Christmas, everything. It's like, oh, you thought of me.
Yes.
Thank you. But I love to give gifts. But, I need to tell my friends when things are important to me, like my birthday.
Yeah.
That is important. I want everyone to acknowledge that it's my birthday. So I'm going to just tell you that it's important to me, or else I'm
told
going
me
to end
like
a
2
friend.
weeks before.
Yes, I did. I said I have to warn you. My birthday's coming up. It's the first birthday we've been through together.
That's true.
Do you want to know something?
Yeah.
This is the first year in years that I haven't had like a all-out birthday party.
Oh.
Do you want to know the one thing I did in COVID?
What?
I had an outdoor birthday party for my 26th birthday and announced to all my friends in my backyard that I was pregnant. But it
You're
was
like, I'm pregnant. They're
yeah,
like
but it was
60 feet
during
away.
lockdown. So it was like the one time I broke lockdown was on my fucking birthday, because that's that's how egotistical I am. Yeah.
And you were like ready to get your friends killed for having like small get-togethers.
And then my birthday came around, and
you're
you
like,
know what? They all fucking came.
Of course they did.
And then I told them I was pregnant, and it was awesome. Like it was great. But I tell my friends like
yeah.
when it matters, or else you get hurt feelings.
That's true. You said you were like, I like cards. I fucked up on that one. I
Did not get a card. You know who else didn't?
Who, Ben?
Yeah.
He didn't.
No, Ben and Alex and Amy didn't either.
And
but
Ilya.
Amy, it's okay. I didn't expect you to.
I know. I fucked up. I was like, I fucked up.
It's okay. I've also, I think this is a testament to like, hey, growth. If you have these things, I used to be really sensitive if my friends like wouldn't text me back with enthusiasm. I just like expected a lot of my friends because I like to give a lot. I like to give a lot of myself to them. I'm there for them. If they call me, I answer. If they text me, I answer. Still to this day. But like I have accepted now that it brings me happiness to immediately text someone back. And if they don't text me for 3 days, you know why? Because it doesn't bring them happiness too. And like, that's fine. I'll call them if I need them. But I had bridesmaids and I sobbed because people didn't give me enough attention. And now I'm like, I don't care. Like I just am more respectful. Like it's like you don't have to worship you don't have to be on my schedule.
Totally.
So as friends, talk about it.
Yes.
Talk about it. And if you can let it go, like let it go. Not everyone wants to like think about me 24/7.
Totally. This is also a phase in our life too, where we're like kind of moving into like, oh, it's time to let a lot of the things like we left teenagehood and was like in our early 20s, and there was a lot of still the immaturity that we were letting go of. And then now that we're late 20s, 30s now, we're letting a lot of things go.
And truly, like
actually,
really,
yes,
yeah. Like, and I
turning
actually
the page.
Don't care. I have a couple friends that when they were my bridesmaids, we eloped because of COVID, but they were supposed to be my bridesmaids, and I would sob literally because, like I said, they weren't giving me enough. But I would be like, "What kind of shoes should I wear?" And then they wouldn't respond, and I would like call Amy and be like, "I can't believe they don't even respond." And I have to say like, "What kind of shoes I wear?" Like, it's that fucking hard to just like respond to me, and I like lost my mind. Like, one of my friends had to drive and find me. I was sitting on a park bench sobbing. Lauren, thank you. I love you. The one in San Diego here. Yeah, dude. But I think after that I was like, I'm crazy. And then I was able to kind of just move past it. Like, I was like, I'm good. I cried on a park bench. I'm going to let that character flaw go.
But at least you let yourself get to that point. Because if you repressed that, I think it would show up in a weirder way.
But then they all were like, we love you and we're sorry. And I was like, oh, you do. And even after I screamed at all of them, and I was like, oh, you do love me, so it's okay. Like, you don't have to talk to me all the time.
That's amazing.
I've made a lot of strides.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, there's two more.
Okay.
Lying for people, feeling like you're obligated to be someone's friend, what did I write?
Feel in
competition. Competition, that's a big one. And you feel drained. Shall we hit these quickly?
Yes, quickly. Lying for friends. I've never lied for friends.
Fuck no. I am the biggest snitch.
Oh yeah.
I'm a snitch.
I'll
call your boss, your mother, the police.
I had a friend, one of my best friends. We had a falling out. I forgot. I like repressed a lot of close friends that we had a falling out with. And I introduced him to a good friend of mine from when I was younger, and they started dating. And he was also, this kid's dumb as hell. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this, but he was like texting other girls in front of me, talking to me about them while they were dating. And I was like,
snitch.
I have, listen, y'all, if we're friends, I have no fucking problem being that guy of being like, this is called integrity. You cannot be like that. I don't accept people like that in my life. Point blank. We're not going there.
I have no tolerance for infidelity.
Infidelity, especially infidelity like that, especially with my friend, like a friend of mine. I was like, you're disrespecting her, yourself, the other girl. You're just disrespecting me. Like, this is
that I have to know about your stupid dirty secret now.
And you want me to keep it a secret?
Exactly.
No.
It's like, fuck you.
No.
So lying for your friends, don't do it. They're honestly pieces of shit. Anyone who asks you to lie for you, we said it like people told us when we were kids. Like, if someone asks you to lie, that's not good. I hate lying. I don't like it. So leave. If you feel obligated to be their friend, don't be their friend. If anything's an obligation, don't be their friend. I don't know.
That point blank.
That one's easy. That was like, there's not much there. Okay.
Feel in competition. I've never had competitiveness with friends. Not competitiveness, but I did always, like, when I was had a lot of musical friends, I did feel jealous at how much I thought they were better at me as a musician.
Okay.
So not necessarily like I never felt competitive, like I needed to be better, but I was just like, so no, not competition. I was just like, I was always happy for them. I'm like, oh my God.
Also, though, if we're talking about competition within like a craft.
Yeah.
Like, I feel in light competition, with any other wedding planners out there, mostly just inspired or, whatever.
Yes.
But like, there's that little bit of like, oh gosh, I want to be, I want to make sure I'm being my best. I'm really more in competition with myself. So for me, competition within friendships doesn't exist because I think it really means there's hostility and resentment and anger within that friendship. And those are emotions that are like really hard for me to like figure out why they're in a friendship. So I don't think it's like about whatever it is in that moment. Like if you're competing about everything, whether it's a promotion, who has a better relationship, your shoes, who has a more expensive curtain, whatever it is, there are crazy things. And it's like, if you're always in competition with each other, it's like, and you don't care about the other successes, they say they do something well, and you're like, well, guess what I did? That's not a friendship. Like at best it's a sounding board, but like at worst, like you guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's not
I would end the friendship.
Yeah. End it.
If it's like a coworker that you're also friends with, that is a nuance. If it is like, we work together, we're in sales and like, but we're also buddies outside of work, friendly competition, but that needs to leave if it's not about like the business.
Yes. I've always felt like I felt competitiveness coming from someone, and I was like, that's weird. I'm like, like in a coworker, like with a coworker, I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, always like, I'm not even gonna go there. I don't know what you're struggling with, but we're not the same. We're never gonna be the same.
I have no interest in competing with them back, and like I don't. I'm like, why are you like? I don't know. Like they're posting up on you, and you're like,
okay,
what do I do? What do I do now? Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I very rarely feel like someone is in competition with me. And when I do get very, I do feel weird. Like it's never a friend though. It's always like, this is weird. Like this person I don't know very well, an acquaintance, social media. I'm like, they're starting to do things that I'm doing and like they're being weird to me. Yeah. No, I think it's weird. It's like you're a fan almost. Yeah. Like, why are you in competition with you trying to prove to each other? Like why? And like, why are you trying to prove to each other that you're so good? Like, are you in love? Yeah. Maybe that's kiss.
Maybe.
You should just kiss.
Just kiss them and leave.
I think you'd be better off. There's some tension there. It needs to be addressed. If you're competitive, have sex with your friend.
Or coworker.
Or whomever. As long as it's legal and consensual.
Yes.
That's how you're going to break the competition.
Yes.
You heard it here first. Which leads into being drained. That, like a friend who makes you, or a person in your life that makes you feel fucking drained.
Yes, that's happened to me. I have that with my dad for sure. Like, I have to draw straight up boundaries with my dad because he will. If I just he goes on political tangents, I'm like, first of all, I don't know anything that's going on in Brazil politically. We'll never know. I don't really care. I hear about it a little bit, but I don't care what's going on in Brazil. But he gets so fucking riled up and telling me shit on the phone. I'm like, I heard this before. You told me. I can quick Google search and find all this. And then at the end of the conversation, people all the time will be like, are you and your dad, were you yelling on the phone? Were you angry earlier? I was like, no, I was talking to my dad for like 2 hours. And I don't even realize how much he gets, and my heart rate goes up a lot. And then there's other friends that I'll like sit down and the whole time they're just complaining.
Like it takes so much energy.
Because and for me, I'm like literally listening to what they're saying. Obviously, like being a listener, you're like, oh, listening to everything. I'm like, oh my God, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that happened. That sucks. And then it's taking from you. Then at the end,
so mean of people to do that. Like I hate when people, I fucking hate I actually do hate the word toxic and like trauma dumping, but I hate when people put their life's miseries on me. It's like, we aren't that close.
Have not been that close. And
if it's your dad to you, you are the child. He is the parent. Go away.
Yeah.
That annoys me.
He's so just riled up about political stuff, but
he's not respecting that you don't want to talk about it though.
Yeah.
So it's not only is he like draining you because like you don't care about the subject, but you actively don't want to talk about the subject.
Yes.
It's like there's one thing for a dad to drone on and on about shit that is honestly just like mind numbing, truly, but it's not toxic.
A dad thing. Yeah.
It's a dad thing. Yeah. And there's people like that are mind numbing sometimes, but when they are talking about things that you've specifically set a boundary on or attempted to set a boundary on and like will go on and on and on and like make you take on what's happening, their emotions, other people's reactions. And you're like, not only do I not care, but this is ruining my whole day. So thanks.
Yes. I've said that. I've got off the phone and be like, I had a bunch of work to do. I can't even do it.
Yeah, because you're so drained, you're grumpy. It's like so fucking rude. No, I mean, like, I don't know what you should do about your dad. But if a person was making me feel that way, like a friend, always, I would just stop. I think I would just like, that's the slow ghost. Like I would just slowly back away and like remove myself from that friendship.
Totally.
You know?
am straight up with him in the conversation. I'm like, stop. And then like, I unfortunately ghost him for like a week or so, not intentionally. I just like, I see him calling me. I'm like, I can't.
You
do
can't.
This.
You literally can't.
And I've
do
told him
it.
this. This is like, Ivanette's gonna see, my mom's gonna see this. I'm like, I've told them this many times. I'm like, this
Right.
is, it's just like, that's where I'm at right now. So now thankfully he calls me and he like will start dabbling a little bit of this or that, but he never gets into, I have to cut it off immediately. But I've had friends where I sit down on their kitchen table and they tell me all this shit. That's the most draining stuff.
I was going to say there's the other side with like the friendships. And I do think there are solutions there. Like with your dad, it is harder. I'm like, I don't know. But you don't just, like I said, leave the friendship. And I probably would do a slow ghost if I felt that way because I have a lot of capacity. So if you're draining me, that means I really do need to leave. But I think you can set boundaries with friends who drain you to get them to a little bit better of a place with how they communicate with you and just be like, I love you and I know that, you're going through a lot or whatever, but I believe in you. And like, so every time you update me on the same bad news or whatever, it's like, I'll be here if you need me to, but I'd rather like give you tips. I just think people know that I'm not the person to complain about the same thing like 5 times. Like I do set that boundary and maybe that's not being the most giving friend, but then at least
good.
I don't dump them.
You're giving them value by being like, I'm not going to be the one you're going to complain to. And I actually believe you can get out of this if you stop complaining every time. I think some people need to hear that.
Sometimes my advice is like just like that, a little on the nose. And so I'm trying to be, I know, but I feel like I could be, sometimes I could just listen. Like I do give advice, but I get annoyed when people just like vent. Not everyone, like obviously like if my husband wants to vent, like that's part of being in a relationship. Like, if my business partner, Amy, wants to vent, like we own a business together. She's the only person in the world that understands and vice versa what we are going through at any given time. But a normal person, like I would say a vent session, like for a best friend, I don't know, like maybe like once a month, they're kind of venting about stuff that's light. But if it's the same problem over and over and over again, and like I'm hearing about it all day, every day, this happened to one of my friends. She's a victim friend. And I was like, oh my God, I can't hear it anymore. I don't care. I literally don't care anymore. And that's so unempathetic of me, but it's like, shut the fuck up.
Same. Like it was about a friend and she started a business and like everything had to do with the same. Every vent had to do with the same thing, which was like, this client keeps complaining about this. Oh, they'll complain about that or have this issue. I'm like, this is what you took on as a business owner. That's it.
Don't complain about things that you asked for.
7 times in the conversation. Well, this is what you took on as a business owner.
Good for you.
What you need to do is actually learn what the issues are with how to solve these issues.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
your solution.
Ask,
yeah.
Why are your clients complaining? I don't know. Ask them. Listen, take feedback, consider that maybe you did do something wrong.
I'm like, this is like, and just with the technical stuff, I'm like, you said it, you have to set the right expectation for them. Those details don't even matter.
Those taxes, like what the taxes look like for that company.
No.
Can you imagine just like an accountant trying to go through that at the end of the year? No, I feel like for the draining one, either, set a boundary and you change it. Something we were saying before we started this episode, because I'm excited we got to talk about this. And like, I think we did tighten it up. Still kind of feels broad.
Yeah.
But I feel like at least, we like identified things that are either they have to end or you fix it. Like all of the things that we talked about, these toxic traits are things that you either make a change or you end the friendship and there's no other choice once you identify it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Once you identify it, once you see it for what it is, girl, do something about it. Because you don't want a parasite.
You
don't want a parasitic thing like this in your life. Like,
and because once you notice these toxic traits, and if you heard stuff today that you were like, oh my God, that's me, or like, my friend or my friendship or whatever, now you know. So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do, but you can't just have a friend like that. You can't have friends and other things on here that weren't on here. I'd love to go through. And we do have a story, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll read the story. But yes, for sure.
People will treat you like shit, though. That wasn't on this list, and I wish it had been. I just think...
Like, treat you like shit? What do you mean?
Like, if you have friends that treat you like shit, like,
Does
look
that go
down,
with,
like
the-
talk down on you, make you feel bad, criticize everything you do. If you get a promotion, they say, cool. I had a girl, the friendship is over now. It took a lot longer than it should have because I fell for the same stuff. When I figured out the morning that Ben was going to propose to me because he gave me an invitation for a date night. So that was pretty fucking clear. And I texted my friends, I think Ben's going to propose. And, or I was like, Ben's going to propose tonight. Like, I'm 100% sure. And this girl texted me back, that's wild.
She wasn't like, congrats.
That's wild.
Oh, wow.
This guy, this amazing guy. Like, Ben's a good catch. He's a
catch and a half.
great partner. That's wild. I was not.
Was she happy for you when you guys when you started dating?
No, she hated him. So.
What?
So people who just treat you like shit and make you feel like shit, like I feel like that's item number 14. Get out. They're mean. They're angry. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to empathize with them. They have other people who are coddling them. You don't need to feel like shit. Like, just get out. It's fucking mean, and you don't need that.
Oh my God. I've never had a friend. I've had friends
have
like
you?
that.
Yeah. I think listen, I think they've all. Okay. So we have a story that we got, and I haven't read it yet. And we also got a phone call along with it, which I'm going to read I'm going to read the full long story. I had one of my friends, when she found out what we were doing for the episode, was like, oh my God, I have a story. And I have this many texts, and she tried to call mid-episode. So I'm going to read this, and if we think it's worth it, we'll call her back.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Toxic friendship story. And then we're going to break it down.
Okay.
Figure out what happened. Okay. My toxic friendship, was it me or her? Also, I did ask her if she was going to share on the podcast to actually share like you would on a podcast. So for everyone else who's so kindly writing in,
yes,
we need you to share in a way that we don't need to provide context. So this is going to be like your template.
Yes, there you go.
Right?
And send us your stories, please.
And please, God, just send me your fucking stories. Okay. Subject. My toxic friendship, was it me or her? I was friends with a girl for 15 plus years. We grew up together and had met in elementary school and hit it off immediately when she invited her whole first grade class to her birthday party, as you do in a small school. And we showed up wearing the same shirt, outshowing the birth. This is so stupid. Outshowing the birthday girl may be toxic, but I was 6, so I get a break there. Okay, fucking comedian over here.
Let's go.
Shut up. Okay. Fast forward to high school, and the bond is still as strong as ever. But looking back now, there are some differences that makes any relationship hard to manage. So, like, differences, I think, between her and her friend. Mm-hmm. Okay. So my parents are getting a divorce ×2. So they're on their second divorce. My stepsister dropped her 3-year-old off at our house, and I was basically raising her, but I had some cool friends and was a party girl, so whatever. So this friend that she's been talking about, this friend and I had grown extra close in high school, and she was very much so a part of my everyday life in family, cheer, school, etc. We go to graduate and we go to college together. How fun. Okay?
Yeah,
it sounds like
cute.
It's not going to be fun. My premonition is it got less fun.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So by our junior year of college, they made it. We decide to live together in her sorority live out. We've had a few arguments in our 15 plus years, but nothing out of the ordinary of teenage friends. So what could possibly go wrong is what I was thinking. I have this guy friend that I have been seeing for about 5 years now. Oh no. She knows. Everyone knows. But it's never made a thing until she starts dating one of his friends. And then naturally, we do stuff together because that's fun. Well, yes. It was short-lived. They hung out once, started dating a week later. He said something weird once, and so she dumped him. You think it would be funny, laugh it off situation. So I go back to seeing the guy I've been seeing for 5 years solo. Yeah. The fallout. God, this is great. The fallout is next.
Love this.
Is
this
the
is
anticipation there for you? Okay, so far they've just been friends their entire life. It's hard to date. It's dating things, situationships. It's hard to date friends of friends and try to be friends. Then the breakups happen, and who do you stay friends with? This shit.
Yes.
And it happens a lot in high school and college. This is like or early 20s.
Very common.
Common thing. Okay, the fallout. So we live in a house on Greek Row with 3 other roommates, and one night the guy calls me and says, hey, me, friend, and other friend that briefly dated friend want to go hunting near you tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can we drive over tonight, stay with you guys, and then head out at 5 a.m.? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Oh, because it was that girl's ex-boyfriend. The guy she dated for a week was going to be in the group coming to their house. And she just said yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
She should have asked.
Should have, yes.
Okay,
yes,
let's,
okay.
you know what? You want to read the next message? Should I have asked her? Absolutely. The self-reflection and accountability.
Yes.
I love this. So she says yes. Her fuck buddy and her roommate's ex of like a week are coming over so that they can go hunting in the morning, and they're spending the night with them for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Okay. Should I have asked the other roommates? Again, yes, absolutely. So she goes on to say, absolutely, I'll take fault there, but I didn't. And the one I did ask lived in the basement. Wasn't home, so she said that boy B and boy C could sleep there. Okay, so the guy she's fucking is obviously going to sleep with her, and then the ex-boyfriend and then this other random friend are going to sleep in the basement where there's no one. So, she should have asked the girl who dated him probably, but, like, they're going directed to sleep in the basement. Okay. Well, that night, all the girls come home after a long night of boozing. I took all the boys out to the bar, and we were at the house maybe from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I wake up and boy A is like, I don't want to go. Let's just hang here and you and me can go to breakfast. Boy B and C leave. We go back to sleep. So the guy that she's hooking up with, I think, like they're just not going to go hunting. The other guys go home. They spent the night and they partied anyway. But like then she's with her guy. Okay. We text the roommate, me and the guy I've had a hookup with, hey, we're going to breakfast. Do you want to come? And then this woman unleashes on me about how unsafe, unreasonable, and what an absolutely awful human being I am and have always been for not taking her aside in the breakup. Again, a month at max relationship. Okay, I'd said a week, so a month.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Calls her parents to come get her for the week. Wow. They have a huge fight, basically. So there's some details that she said for host size only. So they go, big fight. Basically, it was enough to make my friend who wrote this for us in this fabulous manner drop out of college. Like,
was it a
this
fist
got
fight?
really bad. I don't know. It was just like the thing said, she calls her parents, like they came and got the girl from school. Like she's screaming about the relationship and she drops out of, so my friend drops out of college because of this. It wasn't going great anyway. Like there was other stuff, but it was like now she has to live with the girl. So this turns serious.
Yeah.
This is bad. So the friendship leads to them both ending up like leaving the house and one of them leaving college. So I drop out and I go back home. She sends me a text about how disappointed she is that I am lying to everyone about what our fallout had to do with. So I still to this day don't know what her real reason is. They never talked again. And that's all she knows. She was like, isn't that what it was about? And they never spoke again. However, there are details that she didn't share. And there was something that happened that involved their families and their parents.
Shit.
And maybe some infidelity, because remember, this friendship went back all the way to elementary school.
Oh,
so she thinks that might be part of the real reason. But a friendship you've had your whole life,
ending.
I don't know, let's break it down. Ending over a 1-month boy relationship. Was it, and maybe some infidelity between their parents that not everyone was aware of.
Also, one big thing is,
what did you get from that?
Moving in with your friend
Stupid.
is one of the most hardest things to ever recover from as a friend.
Don't do it. You're going to lose the friendship almost every time.
Because who you are as a friend and who you are as a housemate is totally different. Like, even like with family, like my family as my parents as two other adults, I'm like, I love them. They're great. They're like, as people, great. But when you live with them...
I lived with my in-laws. Ooh. I love my in-laws. We are not compatible roommates. We had to spend, 2 months together, and it was not the relationship that I had known prior.
Yes, you don't want to go into the bathroom after your
You can't walk around
naked.
It. Well, you can with girls. That's the one nice thing. Like when I had girl roommates in college, you could be comfortable, like it depends. Co-ed roommates, that's harder, but you can't be as comfortable no matter
Yes.
what. Like, you're not as comfortable.
And even if you are comfortable, like sometimes the one person being too comfortable makes you feel uncomfortable.
It's the lack of respect that I think you, with friendships, like with a roommate, with a random roommate, and seriously, go on Facebook, like meet people. There's so many groups that like vet the people who are in there, and then you meet over a common interest and you guys decide to live together. Like, there are creative ways to like feel like you have a relationship with someone if you're looking for a roommate for a new apartment or whatever it is. But you are so right. Like, going in with your friend, you don't have that like, oh, I just met you, I'm tiptoeing, I want to be respectful. Let's talk about what you like and don't like. You assume you know what they like and don't like. Guess what? You don't. You have no idea what kind of like hobbit hole monster or put together, like, driven roommate you have. That was my fucking worst fear. Like, I was a monster at home. I was a gremlin. I mean, I had like crumbs in my hair. I don't shower often. And I was gross. And then I would have roommates who were like my friends, and they thought outside of the home, I was, I was 20. I feel like now I might be the more anal roommate, but, they didn't need to see me like that, and I didn't need to know how annoying they were. I was like, you're not fun.
Or like weird things you didn't know about them, where you're like, oh, like I had a friend that she like, it was she ended up having an eating disorder.
Okay.
And I didn't know that, but that does add a seriousness to your relationship that you didn't.
And now do you have a responsibility?
Yes. And now you're like, what do I do as this friend? Like, because you're using the bathroom after they did, and you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Not to give TMI, you're like, oh shit.
And a lot of this makes us sound, actually quite a bit of what I have said, I think makes us sound kind of like shitty, selfish friends to a younger listening audience.
Yeah.
I think people our age or older who have kind of shifted into the boundary section of our life. It's like our favorite fucking hot topic word. But it is so important. And once we establish those boundaries more firmly within our early 30s, I'm assuming is how we're going to all do it. I think the word goes away because it's natural, but we really are shifting from having roommates you spend every single day with to potentially maybe having families or different things. So your friendships change. And right now, I stand by everything I just said.
Same.
But at 24, I was like, that's so mean.
Yes, oh my God. You're like, be there for your friend. It's like,
fuck off.
You can't save everyone.
Nope.
And I have a life that I'm trying to have too. I've had friends that I moved into their place, or kind of recent when I was not living in California.
Like 5 years ago? That's a while ago.
Or
that's not recent.
4 or 5,
Okay.
Mental breakdowns that I didn't know that they would have, but they would have them very frequently, screaming, crying fits. It just, that stuff, it's not a bad, obviously everyone has bad days. Everyone has the stuff that they deal with on their own time, but it adds another level to your relationship that you're not prepared for.
You're cohabiting, you're living your routines together, you consider each other. But when you're friends, I think it's harder to like consider each other. So it could be even lighter than that. But I will say I'm the bad roommate. We've had a roommate episode. If you didn't hear it, go listen. I am not a good roommate. I'm not saying I am, but I'm a much better roommate, I think, to a person that I don't know. Like someone, because I'm like, I want to accommodate them.
Yes.
And in college, like people I didn't know. And also you get the fun of getting to know them, becoming friends because, hey, you actually like how each other lives. Like turns out your living style is really good and you were respectful from the beginning and you set boundaries and you had a really good time and you can be friends with a roommate. I just think, and then you make a new friend and then you don't lose an old friend. Cool. And I think that is where they went wrong.
Yes,
was living together.
Line. Yeah,
for sure. But they were fucking 18, 19, and
for
then
sure.
Sex, boys, family.
All that mixing together. Ooh.
I think it was
a recipe for disaster from the beginning.
It was going to end. It was. So it's like, both of them were probably a little wrong and a lot selfish.
Yes.
But yeah, the person who ends up freaking out and losing control, which is what I used to be, like I was on the other side of this typically, they lose because you lost your fucking mind. And then you're the crazy one. So
yes,
that's hard. So my friend who wrote in this beautifully formatted story, thank you.
Come on now.
Yeah, so you were definitely the less crazy one.
Yeah.
But
at least in our
there's on
perspective.
both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just we only got one side of the story. Maybe
That's
you're the
true.
crazy bitch.
Yeah, crazy bitch right in.
Crazy bitch. Oh, that would be cool if the other person wrote it.
Oh my gosh, if we could get like an enemy session and 2 enemies agreed to just shit talk the other, like with consent.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna make it happen. Well, I loved this. I hope you guys feel a sense of either like desire to change your friendships and put some work in and have some hard conversations, or I hope we allowed you, if you're past that, like you can end a friendship.
It can,
sucks.
for sure.
It hurts.
Yes. And also moving forward, choosing your friends and the people that you let into your, proactively, who you let in your life. Know what you want in a friend. Figure that out. Like maybe you know what you don't want, but what do you actually want?
Yes. Who fills your cup? Like
who
you were saying
fills your
earlier.
cup? Yes. Who, like, what inspires you? Do you need your friends to inspire you, or is that something you get from yourself?
Right.
Yes,
and different friends serve different purposes.
Yes.
And in terms of like break up with your friend, I think for me, and a phone call could be appropriate depending on the friendship. If it's been a lifelong best friend who you realize you've outgrown, like maybe a phone call is necessary, or you sit and you break up. It fucking sucks. And I lost my very best friend. Like probably the person I've never had a friend closer, and she and I are not friends anymore. And I was distraught. I still miss her. I still don't think we're a good friendship match. At least I haven't grown enough where we would be. We haven't been friends for a while. But I think talk to them, text them, and just say like, listen, I don't see this working out. And I ghost after that typically, but I don't know what to do. It's like, okay, I ended it. Like I told you I don't want to be friends with you. Like, are we supposed to talk again? Like at breakups, you don't talk again. So you call it ghosting, but I just like, I don't know. So, but do it in a respectful way. Don't fucking scream at people. Don't be a bitch to people. I've done that too. And I'm the crazy one.
Yes.
Don't do that. Like, hold yourself to a standard, I think, but you can end it and
end it, start new ones. Know what you want.
Focus on yourself.
Yes.
Focus on the 1 or 2 friends that are amazing in your life. Like so many times, like I have, 6 or 7 best friends, and that's hard.
Yes, it is. It's a lot to disperse all your energy into. I do that. I do a small amount of people because it's just too much, especially in my phase of my life right now. But anyways,
I'm more in depth with the ones I have. I will say I do have like probably 6 or 7 very, very, very close friends.
Yeah, you do.
But they've withstood the test of time. Like some of these people, it's like 12, 13, 21 years. Zaylee, my best friend, 22 years. So.
Oh yeah. I still have to meet her.
She's so cool. We're going to have her on sometime, and she's going to talk about things and sex and bi.
Yes. I can't wait for that. Honestly, I cannot wait for that episode. It's going to be spicy.
Awesome. She's in Italy right now.
Well, anyways.
I hope she's having a good time since my trip got canceled.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in France, and I had a travel planner who didn't tell me that my tickets were expiring and
you
took
freaked out
no
about
accountability.
That not last episode.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was her fault. Like, turns out it was the travel planner. She didn't forward the emails from the company, and she booked the tickets, and she's not taking any accountability, so I can't go to France for my friend's wedding.
Fuck.
I know.
What's her name? What's her first name?
I blocked her on everything. That's how I reacted. Look at that. That's what I did.
Do you remember her first name?
Of course I know her first name.
What's her first name?
I'm not going to say it.
All right, travel planner, you're a bitch.
She doesn't do it like full-time enough for me to like slam her company. It's something she does, but I'm pretty sure under the table.
I just want to tell her first name and tell her what I felt.
It starts with an L.
Listen, L, you're a bitch.
And you ruined like a few
trip.
Days and a good trip. Yeah.
And lost us some money.
So if you're going to also have a job, like do it. Okay, thanks. So I hope you enjoyed your friendship episode. Okay. Bye.
Follow us on YouTube at Too Long Didn't Listen. Follow us on Instagram at Too Long Didn't Listen Pod. And follow us on TikTok at Too Long Didn't Listen Pod.
Please make sure to like and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Thank you to our producer, Ilya. Thank you for our artwork, Morgane. And thank you for the music, Kai Music. You better listen, bitch. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You can pick your favorite. Thank you. Okay.